Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. Sometimes I don't explain things the best way that I can because sometimes maybe I just don't have the vocabulary for it, right? And I try to explain it the best way that I can. But I opened up my email this morning and I must have received 20 emails or close to 20 emails with people telling me. One of them told me, "AP, you're panicking over nothing," right? And although sometimes I get excited, ladies and gentlemen, I usually don't panic. I try not to, at least. But a lot of other ones were telling me about the 20 and 50-pound notes that were being exchanged for like the polymer style notes, telling me that, hey, the reason they're doing it is because they're changing the face on the notes. And I got several different reasons. I even got a reason that they're doing it because they're implanting some kind of a trackable device. But I want to explain this to you so that you understand it, because it is very important. That was not the point that I was trying to make, right? And if I got like 20 emails or so, asking about that or talking about that, it means that a whole bunch of other people, a lot more than 20, probably didn't get my point as well. And I believe that it is a very important point to make, and something that you really need to understand what the premise behind that video was. It was not that they're changing the notes, ladies and gentlemen. It is that the notes that we hold, and I took out one of my little nifty fake $100 bills here. Actually, one of our community members sent me this, I don't know, about two and a half years ago, and I've been tearing them up on screen, to make it look like I'm tearing up a $100 bill when it's just a fake $100 bill. It's I call this Hollywood money. But I wanted to show you, this is what the premise behind that video was. It wasn't that they're changing out your bills for whatever reason. It was to allow you to try to understand that if the government can change this out right now, make believe this is real. Right now, if I have this $100 note, right, that I spent my labor on, I labored for this $100 note or bill, whatever you want to call it. And the dollar right now, the government puts a price on the dollar depending on their monetary policy, depending on how much interest rates go up, how much they go down, and all that kind of stuff. If they have the power to tell you, hey, by the 30th of September, this bill right here, which says legal tender, is no longer legal and no one can accept it for transactions in the private industry or public, then how much value does this note really have? And if this note, in my opinion, this note has zero value, because if the bearer of this note can tell the holder of this note when it's good and when it's not good, it means that the only value that it has is that value which is placed upon it by the bearer of the note, which means that this has no value to you, which means that they can change the value of this note anytime they want. And the premise behind that video as well was hoping that you would do some research and understand that you have zero control over this, and that if at will, by fiat, by edict, any government that issues a fiat currency can change its value or make it null and void, this has no value. It has only the value that is perceived by the people that still accept it, and that's it. Once people lose the confidence in this, it will have zero value whatsoever. Even people that accept it now will not accept it then. But AP, you're saying that this has no value, but that right now it has perceived value. Ladies and gentlemen, only because this has perceived value doesn't mean that it has value. It means that people put a value on this, but what value does this have? None. It has the value, actually I'm wrong, it has the value of the paper and the ink and the labor and energy that went into creating it. And right now, I'm sure it's changed, but the last time I checked, I think that a $100 note cost about 14 cents to make. So it costs about 14 cents, let's say 15 cents to make one of these, but you have to exchange X number of hours for it. But the premise behind it is that if someone can change that this is good today and not good tomorrow, how much value does it really have? And should you really be holding on to a lot of these? Should you really be holding on to a lot of dollars or fiat currency? Not necessarily dollars, fiat currency, depending on what country you live. Should you really be holding on to a whole bunch of these when you know that at any time it can be devalued, just like it has been during the last 100 years, to tell you the truth? In the case of the Federal Reserve note, it can be devalued at whim. It can be devalued a little bit this year. It can be devalued a lot next year. Look at what we've gone through the last couple of years, how much they devalued this, how much less they can get you for this. So that is why I say this has no value. When a government can change the rules, then this instrument has no value to you. It is only perceived value, and eventually it will go to zero, like it has always gone to zero throughout the history of mankind. And for that 20 and 50 pound note that will no longer be accepted in private or public sales, those notes are going to zero. Yes, they are being exchanged with new notes, but was it you that wanted those new notes, or was it the government? So they have full control over this. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the part that you need to understand. This is the most important part. So I hope that you're still here. All right. I know that I'm verbose. I learned a new word about a year and a half ago. Someone called me verbose. And I was like, what does verbose mean? And I looked it up and it said, when you repeat yourself a lot. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to school, when you go to college, when you go to whatever kind of school you go, does a teacher only tell you something one time? No, they tell it to you over and over and over again, because that is how you learn. You learn through experience, right? Experience is the best way to learn, because once you burn your hand on that stovetop, you're very more than likely never going to do that again, right? Or through repetition, right? Or through repetition, when you're told this has no value. This has no value. This is why this has no value. All right, ladies and gentlemen? But the part that I want you to understand the most is not that this here has no value, but how is it that you get this? How is it that you get these? Through your labor. So if the government can, by edict, control how much you can purchase with this by their monetary policy, then they can control what your labor is worth. So you even have no control over what your real labor is worth, ladies and gentlemen. That is the part that is the most important. Because when people look at a dollar bill, or whatever country you're from, when they look at it as money. When it is the opposite of money, it is actually debt. And they look at it as a nominal instrument, a nominal piece, a $1 bill, a $10 bill, a $20 bill, $100 bill. That's how they look at it. But they don't look at it as their labor. This is your labor. So if the government can control this, the value of this, perceived value of this, then they can control your labor. Let me show you one last quick example, all right, that hopefully will allow you to do some more research and convince yourself that this right here, ladies and gentlemen, has no value whatsoever. This right here is a very nice gift that I got from one of our community members, and as you can see, they reside in Nevada. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put a price on this, and I have no idea what they paid for this, so please don't be offended if the price that I put on it is a lot less than what you paid for it. But let's go ahead and put let's go ahead and put $100 price on this. All right, let's put $100 on this. Let's say this costs $100, right? There's a couple of jams in here, some candy, some really nice honey, right? And of course, this nice basket. Let's put $100 on this today, okay? Now, in this basket right here, let's say that we have, I'm just making these numbers up. I haven't looked at the nutritional information yet. But let's say this is 500 calories, 1,000 calories, and 1,000 calories. So we got 3,000 calories worth of food in here, right? Because whether it's jam or honey or candy, it's still food, it's still energy. So it has 3,000 kcals of energy in this package. And it's worth $100 today. Now, next year, if the inflation of the dollar continues to go up as it has been predicted through the monetary policy that the Federal Reserve is saying it will continue to do, this will be worth less next year, or not worth less. This will be able to buy you less next year. That means that in order to buy this same 3,000 calorie package next year, you're probably going to need $110 or $120. Okay, now what changed in this? Let's go ahead and go 1 year ahead. What has changed in this that it now costs $120 to purchase this? Because it still has 1,000, it still has 3,000 calories. Nothing has changed in this package whatsoever 1 year ahead. But now it takes 1 1/5 of these notes, $120 to purchase it. What has changed, ladies and gentlemen, is that this has been devalued by the powers that give this perceived value by edict. So now, not only does it take you more of these to buy the same of this, okay? That's not what you really want to be thinking about, is that it takes you more of these to buy the same product, but that it takes you more of your time. Because if this goes up to $110 or $120 next year, I guarantee you one thing, that your salary or your wages will not go up at the same rate that the inflation of this is going up, that the prices of things are going up. So effectively, it is your labor that is being stolen from you. That is the premise behind that video about how those bills will be worth zero, trying to get you to think of why will they be worth zero? Well, why? Because someone in an ivory tower somewhere said so. If it takes the word of man to change the value of something that you use to exchange value with one another, if it takes the word of man, how much value does this really have? That's what you need to think about. That's what we need to learn in the schools. That's what we need to teach our children. That way, the next generation or generations don't fall for the same scheme that we have fallen for the last 4 or 5 generations. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the best way that I can explain it. I really hope that you understand it. I really hope that you understand this, because this is why we have been enslaved. This is why we as a world have been enslaved for as long as we have. We fought to get rid of slavery in the Civil War, supposedly, right? That's what they teach in schools, so we'll leave it at that. But we supposedly fought to get rid of slavery in the Civil War. But we, as humanity, live in the biggest plantation in the universe. Because the earth itself is a plantation. As long as we continue to use and accept this, then again, what choice do we really have when we are as divided as we are, and we will not come together as one and acknowledge who the real enemy is? We live in what is an open prison, as far as I'm concerned. Why? Because our labor is extracted from us with this. Can you believe that? I mean, that's crazy. Your labor is taken from you with the use of a piece of paper or a digit on a screen. It's literally taken from you. You never even get to see what you earn before it's taken from you. Right? It's taken from you before you get the share that you're allowed to keep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so understand this, that this is worth nothing. All right? And if this is worth nothing, then what's your labor worth? Having said that, again, I hope that you got something out of that. I hope that I explained it in a way that makes sense to those that the first video that I did on this subject matter doesn't make sense to. I just hope that you all that watched that other video will watch this one as well, but that's unpredictable. Who knows? Maybe nobody will watch it. Having said that, I actually do have, I think that today I'm going to spend the day making fun videos. All right. So this is the only somewhat serious video that I'll put out for today. There is a lot of news. I know about Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 and all that stuff. That is going to cause... That's going to be for another video. Maybe we'll talk about that during this Friday's live stream. All of the havoc that Nord Stream thing is going to cause. I'll tell you what, it is going to be epic. Epic, not in a good way, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll talk to you all later. But anyways, like I said, I'm going to try to do a few fun videos. It's getting really chilly outside, so I'm going to try to get them done today because a couple of them are outside videos that I have to do outside, and one of them is in here, so I'll work on those today, and hopefully I'll have 1 or 2 of those up today and maybe the third one up tomorrow. But these are videos that are going to be more fun. That's not going to have any news or anything like that, so hope to see you there. Having said that, have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, thank you very much for all of your support. All right, thank you very much for emailing me with your questions, with your comments. You know, with some people email me with disagreements, and that's fine, all right, because I've gotten a few very good emails that were very productive. But I do appreciate you engaging with the community. I really do. But I felt compelled to do this video about this because I got so many emails about that people, I just don't know if when people play the videos, they just listen to them as they're doing something, or they just don't pay attention. But sometimes I think that people will stop a video before they get to the point of what that video is. However, have a great day. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.